Hey guys, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2, where last episode we checked out the Vethia dimension, which didn't go super smoothly, but I had a lot of fun doing that, and we made it through there. And ultimately, we have now unlocked LightningCraft, which is something we'll be checking out today. So the first thing we have to make is a golden club. I believe this allows us to summon lightning, which is how we're going to power all of the LightningCraft machines. Next, we have to make some of these terminals, and we have to take it all the way up to the copper tier, looks like. The first one is made with these lightning charges we made last episode, and then all subsequent terminals are just made with the rods and some blocks of metal. Alright, we got the first two quests. Now we have to make the first ingot in LightningCraft, which is Electricium. And to make the first ingots, we have to throw diamonds, gold, and iron, and lightning strike this. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, I see, so you can only actually make these one at a time this way. Although I think coming up here we're going to have a machine to make this for us. So with Electricium we can unlock the next tier of air terminal, which gives higher tier of efficiency. And these terminals basically capture lightning, or LE as it's called in LightningCraft. We can also make the energy cell, which can store LE. And the quest also wants us to make some thunderstone, which is made with blood magic slates, some Electricium ingots, and scorned bricks from Bewitchment. And the scorned bricks are actually quite easy. It's just compressed netherrack and compressed obsidian. So I guess let's just put in a recipe for these ones. And we can also put the recipe in for thunderstone. We should have a fair amount of these ethereal slates backlogged already. We have 256. So let's also include the recipe for thunderstone. So to make these two quests, we're going to need a fair amount of Electricium ingots. And we don't have access to the infusion table yet, which is I think how we make these things later on. And we only have 4 durability left on our golden club. So I'm wondering actually if there's a way to repair this. These golden clubs are not the cheapest things to make with the lightning charge cost. So it would be really nice if this item repairer worked. Let's see. Oh, it does work. Awesome. Nice. Okay, so I made up another 14 Electricium ingots. We first need the lightning energy cell. Oh, and we need a little bit more for this air terminal since this takes blocks, and this is 9 each. So yeah, I've got a lot more lightning strikes to make here manually. Okay, 3 blocks of Electricium, an Electricium rod, and we upgrade to the air terminal. Alright, so now we can make the lightning infusion table. And this thing allows us to create Electricium a lot easier just by putting in the blocks, and we can automate this process. However, I have heard some TPS issues with this machine. Basically, it causes massive amounts of server lag. So we'll make 1 or maybe 2 and we'll just see how it goes. However, to craft this thing, well, yeah, we need a lot of different materials here. Alright, so the Thunderstone we just put in a recipe for. The Eldritch Stone we got from the Emptiness dimension. Condensed Potentia and Condensed Ignis is just an infusion craft. A Bald Hellfire, I think we have a recipe for that. The Black Iron Frame is easy. And then, yeah, 4 lightning charges. So after a little bit of crafting and gathering, we can make our first lightning infusion table. Oh nice, a trophy, we haven't had one of those in a while. Alright, so next we have to make use of our machines here, and we have to create a Skyfather ingot, which is made in the lightning infusion table. We need some thunderstone, and we also need Skythern chunks, which come from the mobs in Skythern actually, and we're not currently farming these guys. So let's change that. We're going to spawn in these mystics, if we can actually pick them up. I can't get close to this guy. There we go, got him. So we can add in the Skythern soul to our drawer network, craft a powered spawner, and hook this up to our mob farm. Awesome, so now we are farming the mystics there. We're going to have loads and loads of those souls to work with. However, actually that spawner only gives us these souls, and we're after the Skythern chunks, which have to be crafted from the gem, and then the fragment, which comes from the soul. So we'll add a crafter to craft down those steps, and automatically give us the gems that we want. So first recipe is going to convert to fragments, second one is going to be for gems. Both of these will be set to the internal slot of the crafter, which will keep it in this blue section. And the third recipe will be to the external slot, and this one will craft the chunks for us. Yeah, and then we just have to set the output drawer, and we have Skythern chunks. Okay, so let's now see about putting this lightning infusion table to use. The quest mentions that we have to have this energy cell next to this. I'm not sure if there's any way to transfer energy. We may end up using phantom faces or something. But I think if we put the air terminal on the energy cell, strike this with lightning, does this fill up? It does fill up, okay. Then we can put in our recipe here, which is 4 thunderstone and a Skythern chunk. Oh yeah, we're crafting, nice. So yeah, this machine is very slow, so I think this is something we'll want to passive. And does it consume the LE after it crafts, or during the craft? It looks like only after. Yeah, it did consume the stored LE. Most importantly though, it did give us the Skyfather ingots. Nice, so this unlocks both the better air terminal, which gives us 100% efficiency, And it also unlocks the electrostatic generator, which is a way to generate LE. So how do we make this thing? More lightning charges, some skyfather ingots, and 4 mystical tablets. We should be able to request these tablets by now. Oh, what are we missing? Lavender quartz? Okay, that's crafting up. Let's craft the purified tablets first, since these take the longest. But then, the rest of the stuff should be easy. The other part of this quest line down here, though, the bottom half, requires us to get some of these demon hearts, which you might remember from Bewitchment. And the quest recommends that we actually automate the process of summoning demons. But honestly, I don't know if that's going to be necessary. We have already 9 demon hearts in our ME system, and once we have 10, there is a duplication recipe with some demon will and some regular hearts. So yeah, all we need is 1 more demon heart, which should be easy enough. We can just spawn 1 more demon. Wait, I thought we had to sacrifice a villager for this guy. Okay, well, I guess not. Did we get the demon hearts? Oh wow, we got 7 from this guy. So now that we have at least 10 demon hearts, we can add a processing recipe in the alloy smelter. But since Applied Energistics doesn't handle recipes like this very well, where you have the same inputs and outputs, I've just renamed a dummy item, so this blank piece of paper, which won't end up completing the craft. We'll have to cancel it in the crafting status here. But yeah, now we should be able to request our piece of paper here, and that will put the items into the alloy smelter and give us the demon hearts back. So that was in order to make demon stone, which has to be infusion crafted. And yeah, we need the demonic hearts to make these demonic elixirs. The rest of the things here we should have. We do also need demon blood though, which are dropped by demon soldiers who apparently spawn in the nether. I do recall seeing them, but I'm not having a hard time finding them here. Yeah, you can never find the mobs you're looking for in this game. Where are those guys? Aha, here's one. We're gonna soul vial this guy. And 1 more powered spawner means that we should now be farming our demon blood that we need. Man, this new system that we've built is just so easy to add powered spawners to this now. And we have a lot of space actually down there for even more. Oh, an ender sword. Interesting drop. Yeah, let's make sure to turn on this extract again though. We don't want a server crash here. And I did also add the drawer for the drop, so we should start seeing demon blood in our system now. Oh yeah, already up to 40 of these things. Alright, so I've ordered some more demonic elixirs to be crafted here. I'm hoping that we don't need too much of this stuff because these demonic elixirs actually take forever to craft. We need to create the Runes of Pride, which I think is a tier 3 rune. So yeah, this requires a handful of runes on their own. And we also need the Traveller's Tenacity, which takes the more runes and the Oil of Vitriol, and then Cloudy Oil, and yeah, and then the Fiery Onion is also Cloudy Oil. And we only get 1 demon stone per craft as well. So yeah, we'll see. The quest does call for 8 of these things, so let's request 8 to start off with. So these took a little while to craft, but this should be our last demon stone that we have to create. At least for the quest. And I think in all that time our mystical tablet should be done crafting, which means that we can craft our electrostatic generator. However, before we start automating any of these machines, let's continue down the bottom side of this quest line. So this bottom quest down here is the advanced lightning cell, which allows more LE capacity. I think we'll come back for this one. Let's work on this underworld charge, which is made with some of the demon stone we created, some condensed V crystals, and an inverted potentia. In fact, do we have a recipe for this? We do have a recipe for this. Nice. Okay, so inverted potentia in the center, 2 demon stone, 2 condensed potentia, and 2 condensed diabolus, and a whole lot of V. But finally, we have the underworld charge, which actually is going to take us to the next dimension. So let's take a little break from automation. I mean, I know we haven't really automated any of the LightningCraft stuff. We will get to that this episode though. So this is a 2x2 portal made from the demon stone. Hello, spider. Oh, wait a sec. This has to be vertical portal. Yeah, something like this, and then we light with the underworld charge to take us to the next dimension in this crazy mod pack. Aha, okay, so what do we have here? This is an interesting dimension. Some demon soldiers over there. Okay, first quest is to collect some of the materials we can find here. So we need some understone. Oh, some corrupt stone. We also need the sand and the lanterns. Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually expect to be visiting another dimension today. Oh, these demon soldiers are not happy. He is after me. Looks like we get some regular vanilla ores here too. Oh, and look how tall this dimension is as well. Man, this place is huge. Okay, so I'm not sure what we're going to be using these blocks for yet. I'm sure all will become clear very soon. Okay, a lightning furnace. Oh, this must be what it's for. Yeah, there's an alloy smelter recipe for this undermeld for all 3 of these blocks, which lets us create the lightning furnace. And this thing I'm assuming has some unique recipes inside. Okay, while we're here though, is there anything else we need? Yeah, it looks like we have to collect some loot from different mobs that are here. So we need a guard's bone and some underpowder. And I think this also probably means 2 more powered spawners, so when we find them, let's capture these guys. Oh, there's an under slime. What does he drop? Some ice? Oh, and a strange looking ghast as well. The under ghast? What does he give us? Oh, just ghast tears, okay. Yeah, we're looking for a skeleton guard tower. Oh, and these under creeps. I think this is what we get the dust from. Or the under powder. We'll take you for later. I'm assuming these guys explode. Do we want to find out? Yeah, they definitely explode. Ah, this must be the guard tower. Oh, these are cool looking blocks too. Thunderstone bricks. Oh, yeah, there's definitely some guards in here. Yeah, let's grab this spawner for later on. So actually, is that us done in this dimension? I think it might be. We just have to add some powered spawners for these guys. Skeletal guards. And the under creeps. Nice, so 2 more spawners to add to our collection today. Let's just double check the range, make sure they're not spawning outside. Yeah, they both seem to be okay here. Make sure we turn on the fans again. And we're farming. I did already add their drops to the drawer wall as well. So now we can see some underpowder. Oh yeah, quite a lot of underpowder already. There's the quest. And we should also see the guard bones here, yeah. At this point, we could probably turn off some of these spawners. In fact, some of them are off. I think I turned off the owls and the cyclops here. But yeah, I think the next steps is going to be to start using all of our lightning from LightningCraft, which makes a lot of sense. So I have to figure out how this infusion table works, and also how this electrostatic generator is going to allow us to automatically farm LE and power all of our machines. Alright, so I've been doing a bit of crafting here, and I've also built out this new area of the base, which is going to house all of our LightningCraft machines. So this connects through down to where the Impowder setup is, or the Atomic Reconstructors, and our Bewitchment Altar is down that way. So yeah, this was a free sort of area, or corner of the base that we're not really doing anything with. And the basic setup we have here, which will almost definitely change, is we have the Lightning Energy Cell to store the LE. And for now, just 1 electrostatic generator, which is connected up to a cobblestone generator from Extra Utilities. So the way this thing works is it basically consumes any item. We're just using cobblestone for this. Once this bar reaches the end, it will generate a lightning strike, which is then consumed by this air terminal and sent into the energy cell. And then we have the lightning infusion table to take the LE. And for now, we're just batch crafting a bunch of Electricium ingots, or blocks rather. Although I think we will hook this up to our ME system. I have also hooked up a P2P connection over here. There we go, we can see some lightning strike here. Yeah, this thing is slow as it is actually. And I'm not actually noticing any lag at the moment. It might just be because we only have one of these things. But yeah, we'll see if it gets any worse than what it is. Right now we're working on a way to be able to wirelessly transmit LE, which is what these transmitters and receivers are. So I was thinking here that we put 4 electrostatic generators around this energy cell, and then we can transmit and receive the LE into different infusion tables, which I think we'll set up in this little space. And this will allow us to passive the Electricium. I think we'll also want to hook up the Skyfather ingots, and a couple of the other things coming up here. But before we hook that thing up, let's look at the next quest here, which is to make a lightning crusher. This, of course, is also an elite crafting recipe. Which looks a bit scary at first, but actually it's not too bad. I did batchcraft a bunch of this undermelt. I think we have the lightning charges from quest rewards. Some Skyfather plates, we can just add this as a compactor recipe. Condensed Perdito, that's very easy to make. And 8 lightning furnaces, which I just got finished crafting actually. These things took some Electricium, so I wanted to wait on that batch crafting first. So yeah, let's start piecing together this recipe just to see exactly what we're missing here. So this lightning crusher is going to allow us to create some of the unique dusts from LightningCraft. Oh, it's also actually used in the grindstone. We may have to make another one of these later on. But yeah, we need this mostly for this guard's bone meal, which is to crush this guard's bone, and I think this is the only way to crush this. Then we have to put this through the lightning infusion table, along with some Electricium dust, which I think we can do in any kind of pulverizer. And some of this underpowder, which we get from the undercreeps from the Underworld, which we are spawning down there. So yeah, that is going to empower this dust, and this we have to use for two materials. The first is Mystic Ingots, and the second is Divine Underpower. And I was having a look at through some of these recipes, or the uses for these things actually, and both of these materials are going to be used very heavily in Astral Sorcery, and also looks like Draconic Evolution. Yeah, we're going to need a decent amount of these ingots, to say the least. But first, the Crusher. And the quest. So yeah, at this point I would want to make some more lightning infusion tables, basically one per recipe I think. That's going to be a lot of crafting actually. But the reason I'm reluctant to do that is because of the lag that I've heard that these things can make. So I think just to move on and progress the quests, we're going to batch craft a stack of this at a time maybe. Oh, and it looks like our setup here for the generator is actually stopped. It may be because we unloaded the chunk. I don't think we have, yeah, this chunk isn't claimed. That's probably what the issue was. So I think we have to manually get this process started again. And we'll start batch crafting a bunch of this bone meal, which we can then send through the lightning infusion table. This requires much less LE than the Electricium blocks does. So this should be a little bit faster of a process. Actually, maybe not. It's still super slow here. So yeah, while we wait on that dust, let's look at the other component of this Mystic Ingot, which is LightningCraft Ichor. And this we create by striking Demon Blood, Skyfather Ingots, and Emerald with lightning. It doesn't look like there's any other crafting recipe for this. We may have to somehow automate this golden club with a mechanical user. But to start with, we'll just do it manually. Okay, so before we move on, instead of making some more of these electrostatic generators to generate LE, I was testing out some of the mechanical user stuff. And it turns out the user can actually use this golden club to spawn lightning. So instead of having this generator feed the energy cell, I think we can actually put a mechanical user here. Hello zombie. Give this the golden club, which will right click onto the air terminal and fill the energy cell with LE. However, we don't want this to keep using this club up. We have to find a way of repairing this, which is actually a fairly simple process. We just have two item conduits and the item repairer. Let's pause this a second. And then the way we're doing this is we just have extract on brown. And then on the insert filter here, we have the golden club filtered, but this we are filtering for only damaged items can be put in. And then on the insert of the mechanical user, we have this to only not damaged items. So basically when it's fully repaired, it will be put back in the user, and when it's damaged, it will be taken out, repaired by the repairer, and then sent back to the user. And this way we have basically infinite LE, which I guess is also supplemented by this generator. Well, I suppose we don't really need the generator anymore, which should mean that our infusion tables can keep crafting without having any downtime, and this will significantly increase our Electricium production. However, now that I've set this up, I'm actually becoming very aware of the lag almost immediately, so I'm not sure it's going to be viable long term. The only problem is, I mean, there's really no other way to do this, to make Electricium ingots. Our only option here is to use the lightning infusion table. Oh yeah, 13 TPS. I don't think we can sustain this. Alright, I think for now we're going to keep this set up. And I've also went ahead and hooked up the passive automation of Electricium ingots. And the way we're doing this is actually very simple. We just have a ME interface supplying the blocks of diamond, blocks of iron, and blocks of gold. And so the infusion table is actually a sided machine. And the gold and diamond have to go on the outside ring here, and the iron goes on top. So the iron is limited item filtered for the top slot, and the gold and diamond is limited item filtered for the side here. And then outputs are out the bottom, which go into this drawer controller, and place it into the compacted drawer. All we're missing here is a storage bus on the drawer controller, and we can now see all of our Electricium ingots in our ME system. So yeah, let's try to actually close out this chapter today. Actually, well, I'm not sure if we'll be able to close it out, but at least start Extreme Reactors over here. So to do that, we have to create some of this mystical iron, which is some black iron ingots. I think we will actually have to end up passive in this. And we'll also need cold iron, which is made from thaumium. And then divine underpowder, which is Skyfather dust and empowered underpower. So yeah, that's actually a lot of lightning infusion. And I don't think I want to create any more tables, so let's just load this lightning machine up and we'll just batch craft this stuff. So let's start off by trying to get a full stack of Skythorn ingots. It does require 4 stacks of Thunderstone, which is a lot of Electricium and Ethereal Slates. Pretty soon here we'll be adding a 2nd and 3rd Blood Magic Blood Altar, but we're definitely going to wait for seeds before we do that, because that is a lot of Dark Steel cost. Okay, so 4 stacks of Thunderstone, and the Skythorn chunk, which we have hundreds of by now. But yeah, as for these quests here, I did start making this stuff, but then I've kind of changed my mind multiple times. After seeing the lag from this thing though, I don't think we'll be adding any more infusion tables. And this quest to LE transfer is technically optional anyway. We will have to batchcraft some mystic ingots though, which I think means making some more demon stone. Can we request another 8 maybe? Yeah, it looks like we can. Let's also just make up another 4 stacks of cold iron. Actually, you know what? We should probably automate this process. I was thinking that we get seeds for this, but the cold iron seeds are actually tier 5, not tier 4, which will still be a while before we can get the tier 5 seeds. So I think for this all we have to do is hook up a interface, precision dropper, and a ranged collector. And we can encode a pattern for cold iron. Filter the ranged collector to pick up the cold iron. And then we just have this to go back to the interface to complete the craft. And we'll encase this with some glass just to avoid any magnet pulling the items away from the fire. So now I think if we request cold iron, yeah, it's going to drop all the thaumium into the fire. And the ranged collector should be in range here to pick them up. I love these ranged collectors. They can pick up through blocks. Man, they're so good. And let's also at this time just batchcraft, I don't know, maybe 2 stacks of black iron. But yeah, just waiting on this lightning infusion table crafting up now. Oh, we're not even halfway through this. Yeah, that's going to take a little while. 44 Skythorn ingots so far. So I went ahead and made up some of these mystic ingots. But what we really have to wait on here is the ability to create some mystical iron. So while that's going, let's preemptively look at some of the next quests we have to do here for Extreme Reactors. So apparently the Extreme Reactors have actually been buffed significantly actually, in terms of their power output in this pack. Which will be something nice to have, as the power requirements are only going to increase from here. But what we're really interested in is cyanite. And this you can only get through processing your Soularium through the reactor. So prior to version, I think it was 2.8, we're on 2.9 currently. Version 2.8 of the pack gave cyanite dust as a chance output when you sag milled the Soularium dust. So we have about 125 stacks here. And since this output was technically not intended, we are not going to be using this. It's pretty much cheating if we were to use this. So yeah, we no longer get cyanite dust from processing Soularium. So just before we do anything with Extreme Reactors, this is going to be gone. Oh, that makes me so sad, but it's the intended way. But yeah, to actually build a reactor, we're obviously going to need a lot of casings. And having a look at the casing recipe, well, we need graphite bars, which is just smelted coal. And in fact, I think we can get the graphite seeds. Yeah, these are only tier 2. In fact, we should have some of these. But even if we don't, we're at almost 3 million coal. So yeah, the graphite isn't going to be an issue. The dark steel here may end up becoming an issue depending on how large we go with the reactor. It's basically 1 dark steel per casing. So in anticipation of this, I've also increased the drawer capacity. And the last part we need is a reactor casing core, which takes this mystical iron we're waiting on, some alpha glass which we have on passive, and luminescence. And luminescence is something we're going to passive, so we already have the Elevatium on passive. We just have to add a magma crucible and fluid transposer combination. Hook this up with some power. And we're going to ask for Elevatium ingots, and also glowstone blocks. The glowstone is going to be filtered into the magma crucible, and the Elevatium will go into the fluid transposer. Oh yeah, I forgot these machines are very slow without any upgrades, let's fix that. Still nothing amazing, but at least it's on passive, so it doesn't need to be blazing fast. So yeah, we just have to enable output from the left. It takes 4,000 millibucket, 4 buckets of glowstone. Yeah, so this has to melt 4 glowstone pieces before this can fluid transpose 1 Elevatium. Well, in that case, let's just add 3 more magma crucibles. The output of the glowstone is being handled by fluid conduit on the back, which is all being inserted into the fluid transposer, where we can output to the right hand side into the drawer. All we need on this is a storage bus on the drawer, and that's going to be our very easy luminescence passive. And while we're in the mood for passive in ingots, something else I mentioned earlier is, yeah, this black iron ingot, which also involves us doing dark Soularium. So yeah, the dark Soularium I think we maybe have set up somewhere. I honestly don't remember. There's way too many ingots and things on this wall now. Let's have a look. Do you see dark Soularium? I don't. Is it on this wall? This looks like regular Soularium here. Well, let's add 2 more alloy smelters. The first one here is, of course, going to be for dark Soularium, which should then be sent to this alloy smelter, where it gets combined with the dark stone. And we have this passive somewhere. I think it's over here. This has been set up for quite a while here. Oh yeah, this is quite a slow recipe. I'm quite glad we have this on passive. We do have to be careful of our dark steel. Yeah, we have 18. We're back up to 18,000. Let's see where that's going to sit after we build this reactor. Right, it's almost done with the first ingot. There's black iron. So yeah, besides the infusion table things, for mystical iron that is, basically everything except divine underpowder, we have automated for this reactor. Oh, and this infusion table only has 2 more recipes to go before we have the full stack of this underpowder, or empowered underpowder, which we then just have to combine with 4 stacks of Skyfather dust. Well, we have 1 stack and we have another 3 stacks of ingots. Yeah, let's just make all 4 and we'll make a full stack of this stuff. Alright, all 4 stacks have just finished. Let's batch up a full stack of this empowered stuff. Man, I already forget the name of this. There's way too many materials in this pack. Divine underpowder is what we're creating here, which is alloy smelted with some of the cold iron and black iron ingots. And we get 6 at a time even of mystical iron. Which actually is the last quest in LightningCraft here, apart from these 5 optional quests. So yeah, now on to Extreme Reactors. And yeah, you can see here, how much power? Yeah, 500 times the default, so yeah, this thing is going to get crazy. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. But yeah, we got a lot of the infrastructure in place for this, and I think next episode we'll be setting up our reactor. And yeah, once we get this reactor up and running and we get some fuel processed through this, we get access to Plutonium, which opens up the Astro Sorcery tab, and we also get access to crop sticks over here, which is something I've been talking about for a few episodes now, so yeah, I'm super looking forward to this step. But I think that's going to do us for today. We're going to wrap up here. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Divine Journey 2.